Steven Adams just signed a 3-year, $39 million deal with the Houston Rockets. It was the best thing that could have happened to the Lakers. I'm telling you guys, the Lakers need to not pick up players by buying them. Right? They need to have a grind, a hustle, a work ethic. And when you go out and you buy a guy like Steven Adams, and I say buy because the Lakers want to put money on him, pick him up through free agency, right? Sit at home with their fingers crossed that the price is just not too high. Let me tell you something. When you're as bereft of assets to trade as the Lakers are, and you're as bereft of money to spend on free agents, that should be manifested somewhere. Though that money, those assets should be manifested somewhere, right? I don't give a shit if it's in wins, right? If you got a payroll that's $30 million more than the rest of the league, you like to think that team has manifested that use of money in terms of wins. The Lakers haven't done that. The Lakers have no draft picks. Well, they got very little draft picks. You know what I mean, right? They're somewhat bereft of draft assets. Well, if you're bereft of draft assets, you like to think that the Lakers have other assets then somewhere else. They don't. And this whole idea of going and trading of acquiring Steven Adams in free agency, I am glad Houston priced us out of the market for Steven Adams. And it most likely means that Houston just priced us out of the market for Brooke Lopez too. And that's the second best thing that could have happened to the Lakers this offseason so far. Right? And I get the impression that given the price for Steven Adams and Brooke Lopez, what I think Brooke Lopez is going to go for, Clint Capella might be priced out of our market. You know what that means? That means the Lakers have to do some fucking work. That's what that means. And you know what? It's good. I'm telling you guys, it's a good thing. There are people who got to get kicked in the ass to learn the lesson. There's people who could watch somebody get kicked in the ass to learn a lesson, and there's people who just know better. The Lakers right now are a team that has to get kicked in the ass to learn a lesson. That's what they are. And it's not good to be that person or that organization, but that's who we are right now. While we don't want to be that, it's a part of the natural progression of becoming a good, well-run organization. I just made a post about how the Mark Williams trade did not go through because Rob Pelinka did not have his order of operation correct. You see, that 2031 first-round pick is one thing if Luka extends with the Lakers. And that 2031 pick is something different if Luka doesn't. Well, Rob Pelinka traded that pick without knowing. You see? Now, I believe that was the first and last time he makes a stupid ass mistake like that. I like to believe that. But I don't know. Either way, on the way to becoming a better run organization, I don't think you'll have to worry about that type of thing happening anymore. That type of mistake happening anymore. It does piss me off that they put the blame on Mark Williams' physical, because that's going to follow that young man around. That's one. Two, other GMs know that Rob Pelinka, they probably have a good idea that Rob Pelinka retracted that trade because he knew that he effed up. At some point in time, he figured out, I just effed up. I traded a player and we haven't extended Luka yet. The order of operations says we extend Luka, and then we have a better idea of what that 2031 pick is going to be. If the Lakers don't extend Luka this summer, it's a decent shot they don't extend Luka, period. And he's not on the team in 2031. Therefore, what is the value of that pick? I bring all that up to say this. There is growing pains that have to happen with the Lakers because the Lakers were that rich, asshole-ish type team on the block. And when you're that, you could buy your way out of issues, right? You get a young man who makes a poor investment, and you get a rich young man who makes a poor investment. A poor young man and a rich young man, they make the same poor investment. Who does it hurt more? That rich young man may not even acknowledge it. He may forget about it. That's what the Lakers are right now. And that's what they need to come out of. And when you see Brooke Lopez priced out of the market, or Steven Adams priced out of the market, and those two, given what they'll probably get, what may very well likely price Clint Capella out of the market. When you see that happen, it makes you have to go into a different mode. It makes you have to work harder, do more research, hustle more. That's what it makes you have to do. And in my opinion, that's what the Lakers ought to be doing anyway. When you fuck off so many assets, right? And then after you fuck off those assets, you throw good money after bad money to try to make it work. You throw draft picks after a bad acquisition just to get that acquisition off of your hands. When you do so much of that, the maturation that your organization takes is almost more important than the assets that you have or the assets that you bring in. I'm willing to go through some growing pains right now because I know the Lakers aren't getting rid. Jeannie Buss ain't getting rid of Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka is a shit GM. He's terrible. He is an awful GM, and he's not going anywhere. I'm a Laker fan more than I am a Rob Pelinka hater, more than I am a fan of any particular player. Right? So I'm going to stick with the Lakers. But knowing that he's not going anywhere and that I'm sticking with the Lakers, I want to see us go through pain. That we're the team that got to get kicked in the ass. That's the only way we learn, is to get kicked in the ass. So I want to see us go through pain. I want to see Steven Adams get a contract that indicates we're not going to be able to afford a decent center. So then, therefore, we have to get off our ass to make something happen. We have to go and find a target and bring that target into work. And now, JJ Redick, you have to take the target that we gave you, right? While not ideal, right? Because Rob Pelinka would rather pay for a center. While it's not ideal, JJ Redick, you have to get up off your ass and you have to coach this guy up. You now have a responsibility to get this player ready. And just going back to another video I made earlier about Dalton Connect. As a starter, he averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, 55% shooting, 48% shooting from 3, 85% shooting from the line. And it's almost like JJ Redick couldn't wait to bench him. Couldn't wait to fuck up his confidence in what he was doing. Because Dalton Connect created a quarterback controversy. You got Gabe Vincent and you got Austin Reeves. Those two guys are getting paid twice as much as Dalton Connect is getting paid. And they're both older and they're not rookies. Dalton Connect created a quarterback controversy, right? In terms of time allotted to players on the team. He became a problem. And in order to make JJ Redick's job easier, in my opinion, he messed with Dalton Connect's minutes and gave him sporadic minutes. And then once Dalton Connect got sporadic minutes, he started to perform sporadically. And when he started to perform sporadically, then you could fill up the gaps with all these bullshit narratives. Oh, Dalton Connect is no good at defense. Oh, Dalton Connect has a low IQ, right? And what I'm saying is that when you are priced out of the market and now your back is against the wall, I understand Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick that you guys don't really want to hustle. Either you don't really want to hustle or you don't know what hustling really means. Furthermore, you're not doing it effectively. If you're going to hustle, hustle effectively. We're hustling backwards. That's going to be the name of my next video. The Lakers are hustling backwards. We are hustling backwards. We keep making moves that keep requiring us to make more moves that only keep making us worse. At some point in time, this bullshit has to stop. Just stop this shit right now. You know? Forget Steven Adams. I understand you wanted them, but get realistic. Forget Steven Adams. Forget Brooke Lopez. Possibly forget Clint Capella. Go get Amari Williams from Kentucky and coach him up. Go get Tristan Vukcevic from Washington and coach him up. Get Hanson Yang, I think that's what his name is, and see what he is. Either way, Rob Pelinka needs to start understanding what his job is. Your job is to put the talent in front of JJ Redick. JJ Redick, it's your job to coach them up, not coach them down. Not coach them down. And I see too many instances where you see politics manifesting. Right? So again, you take a guy like Dalton Connect, 16 game sample size at the beginning of the season. Why would you start giving him sporadic minutes? Why would you do that? He's a rookie, kicking ass. Why would you do that? On the numbers I told you, 55% overall shooting from the field, 48% shooting from three. Why would you make his minutes sporadic? Your goal is to win, right? Dude was helping us win, right? So why are you making his minutes sporadic? And it's because you're seeing politics manifest. You know, I always tell my kids, yo, you see something that looks like it doesn't make sense. And you're asking yourself, why would somebody do this? Why would an organization do this? Why would a country do this? It doesn't make sense. I guarantee you it makes sense to someone. It doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense from where you sit. I guarantee you it makes sense to someone. And the benching of Dalton Connect and the submarining of his reputation that I've seen, it makes sense to someone. It absolutely tracks to me. We want Austin Reeves. We do not want a quarterback controversy. And whatever Dalton Connect is next year, and I guarantee you, the dude is going to kick ass somewhere next year. And we're going to be kicking ourselves in the ass again because we gave up an asset for what? What did we give up the asset for? You know? Don't tell me that we got 7 or 10 and 7 Nick Claxton out of it. And I hope he's priced out of our market too. For 10 and 7? For 10 and 7 Nick Claxton, you better go find a center. That'll give you 8 and 5. Keep Jackson Hayes. Not for 10 and 7. You know, don't go trading Dalton Connect for 10 and 7. I'm telling you, based on those numbers over a 16 game sample size at the beginning of the year, Dalton Connect should have been better at the end of the year. But at the beginning of the year, the numbers I quoted you, 17 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 55% overall, 48% from the field. From three. Dalton Connect should have been better. If those were his numbers over 16 games at the beginning of the season, by the end of the season, he should have been a 20, 22 point per game per 36 player. That's what he should have been. I'm not even saying that he had to maintain a scoring average of 17. I'm saying that what he became was due to JJ Redick giving him sporadic minutes. And then when a rookie starts playing sporadically after being given sporadic minutes, people are looking at him sideways, like he's the problem. Like he's hit his ceiling. You know, you keep hearing, oh, he's a 24-year-old rookie. There's really nowhere else for him to go. Don't lie to me. Lie to yourself. Don't lie to me. I'm not hearing your stupid shit. But my bigger point regarding this video is Steven Adams staying with Houston. And by the way, I said he should stay with Houston. He's a perfect complement to what they're trying to do. He's a good fit, and that was wise for him to stay with Houston. But Steven Adams staying with Houston, best thing that could have happened to the Lakers, right? Second best thing would be if Brooke Lopez goes somewhere else and prices us out of the market. Third best thing, Clint Capella does the same thing. There are too many players. Look, if there is a player on the market that the Lakers could get, and they are a name. Furthermore, the court of public opinion likes them. And by the court of public opinion, I'm saying the talking heads. The court of public opinion likes them. It only hurts us if we trade for those players. We're going to pay too much. We're going to pay too much. The way we're throwing Dalton Connect into trades, we're going to pay too much. There's one center that I would throw Dalton Connect in the 31 pick for. And that's maybe DeAndre Ayton. And even then, a lot of you mentioned Matisse Thybulle. I'd be glad if the Lakers got him back in that trade. That'd be a good trade. And that's a fair trade. You know? But as long as the Lakers feel like, or are in a mode, free agency is no good for the Lakers. Because the Lakers will look for a name and they'll throw money at that name. Montrezl Harrell. Right? A lot of you will say, oh, he was 6th man of the year. I wonder why Clippers didn't try to re-sign him. Gabe Vincent. He was a hot name because he had a hot playoff. That's all he was. You know. There's no reason why the Lakers couldn't do without him. The Lakers have a poor history when it comes to spending money. Because the Lakers have a rich man's mentality when it comes to spending money. Flippant, frivolous. It's not going to hurt. We got more of it. We're popular. We're the Lakers. That stupid ass shit. They got too much of that now. And what they need is more hustle. If the Lakers had a little bit of hustle, the Lakers would have potentially made the finals this year. But the Lakers' biggest hurdle is not the guys on the court. It's the guys off the court. You know? It's not the guys playing the game. It's the guys who aren't playing the game. It's JJ Redick. It's Rob Pelinka. So, just, you know, my overall position on this trade, I'm glad the Lakers didn't get Steven Adams. I'm glad that we are possibly priced out of the center market. And I am also glad that it looks more and more likely that the Lakers are going to have to work if they want anything. This thing where you think you could take your little, you know, $5.8 million and throw it at a player and the player's like, man, get that shit out of your head. Be wiser with your money. If you decide to get a player and then you go and sit down with JJ Redick and coach them up, you'll get more value. That's how this shit works. Steven Adams is not getting any better or any worse. He is who he is. You can't coach him up. His value is what his value is. His value is such, right, that it's so stable that it kind of influences the market. It lets you know what the market's going to be for everybody else. So don't go get Steven Adams. Yo, when you F off so many assets, you have to find somebody. Then you got to tell JJ Redick, look, man, understand what your job is. Your job is not just to coach. Your job is to develop the players we put in front of you. And if you haven't done that, then you haven't done your job. If you regressed players like Dalton Connect, like Christian Coloco, right, like Trey Jamison, if you regressed players or found no value in players that the whole NBA now sees a value in, you haven't done your job, man. That's what we need to do. JJ Redick needs to understand, and Rob Pelinka needs to understand that whole spending money thing, hey man, it's passed us by. You need to wait till LeBron retires, or you need to wait until it's time to trade Luka or some shit, until we got salary cap space or something. That's when you need to participate. But you messed up too much, right? You didn't understand the value of player options, right? This was general manager 101 type shit. You did not understand the value of assets. General manager 101 type shit. And now you're in a position where you need a center, right? You sat out all last season, didn't acquire anything, and now you need a center. A freaking center in the NBA. Now you need one. And you're priced out the market. So what do you have to do? You got to work. And you have to work in conjunction with your coach. You acquire the talent, and it's up to the coach to coach that talent up. That's what it is. That's where we're at. So, hey man, I'm happy we didn't get Steven Adams. I hope we don't get Brooke Lopez. I hope we don't get a center in which we have to pay any kind of significant amount of money for. I hope we don't. Might we be better with Steven Adams than some of the players that I have in mind? Yeah, possibly. I personally think that we'll end up being worse. Yo, man, you gotta work, man. And this organization shows no capacity to work sometimes. And if you just want proof, look at last off season. Didn't do anything. Negligent. Unforgivable, man. Anyway, y'all, this is Pure Uncut Lakers. This video was a little different, because it was about a off-season signing by another team, but in a sense, it was about the Lakers. Because I know the Lakers were looking at this particular player, and it's not going to happen now, and I couldn't be happier. All right, y'all, be cool.